So the first stretch I'm going to show you is how to stretch your hamstrings properly. Right, the key to a good hamstring stretch really starts with standing up nice and tall. Okay, you actually even want to curve your back in a little bit because that starts the stretch on that hamstring. And then what you can do with your head up and your chest up, just make sure that you lean forward at your waist until you feel a nice hamstring stretch this way. And we recommend that you always hold a stretch at least 30 seconds in this position. Right? And here he shows it really well. What will happen though, and you can lose the stretch, is if you let your pelvis slump or you try to touch your toes and your back rounds out, that slumping takes the stretch off and you really lose that good stretch. So if you make sure that you really keep a nice straight back and you lean forward at your hip. Okay, the next stretch that I like is a proper quadriceps stretch. This really is important for your kneecap because it unloads how much pressure occurs on that kneecap. So the proper way to really do a good quadricep stretch, that quadricep muscle goes across your hip and your knee. So it's really important that you square up on whatever you're going to use to stretch, in this case a high bench. If you were in the weight room, you could use a rack or a pole outside, bench outside. But the key is that you really push this hip forward to start the stretch. All right? And then with that forward hip position, then you can bend the opposite knee and really drop down into a good quadricep stretch. And as always, you would hold this for about 30 seconds. Another stretch that is a movement-based stretch, like we show you with the hamstring, doesn't really focus entirely on the quad, but yet it's a very good hip stretch to keep your hip loose, which is involving the quadriceps muscle, and it is more of a dynamic rotational stretch. It's just a kneeling lunge with a nice rotation back and forth. Good. And you really want to accentuate a lot of trunk rotation and feel it through that front side of the hip.